Welcome to the Patton College of Education Summer PD Series. Today, all day for both sessions, we'll be talking about Microsoft Teams, and we have Luke Ortman here with us from OIT, and he is going to be your guide through the world of Teams. I'll be here probably like yesterday, maybe jumping in a little bit here or there. I'll also be helping to monitor the chat, so if you have questions I can quickly answer, I'll try to pop the answers in. I think Luke's probably got it down. It looks like he's monitoring everything right now. So with that, I will pass the mic over to you, and we will begin.
Thanks, Jody. Thanks, you guys, for having me on this morning. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody in the meeting, and you guys can use the chat as you see fit for questions. Jody will monitor it. I'll monitor it. We'll do the best we can to get the questions answered as fast as possible. But I've got 3 monitors, so I got the meeting up on going here. Teams just recently updated. If you don't have the update, I'm going to post something in the chat here that shows you guys how to get the new update from Microsoft Teams, as well as a lot of general information about Teams, including how to go ahead and get your Teams for Classrooms created as well. I'm going to post that in the chat for the Teams meeting. So you can reference that after the meeting for your own little piece of information that you need. If you missed anything during this or anything like that, it's a great resource to go ahead and use. Second thing, make sure that when you're using Microsoft Teams, and this might sound basic, but make sure you're using the actual desktop app and not the Windows or internet version of Microsoft Teams. The reason being is that you get the full functionality if you're using the desktop app rather than just the one on the internet. If you're not sure if you're using the one on the desktop app or the internet, on the lower left-hand corner, if you're using the internet version, it'll say download the app. Mine says download the mobile app because I'm using the desktop app. So as long as you get those 2 things going, you should have the full experience you need from Microsoft Teams. So what Jody said is that you guys want to talk about the Teams for Classrooms today. So that's what we're going to go ahead and get covered. If you're already in regular Teams, your Teams for Classrooms show up just on your regular Teams home screen. First things first, to get a Teams for Classroom created, you can't do it yourself. You have to go ahead and email the service desk. And again, I'll put the instructions in the chat box here. So that way you can go ahead and get your Teams for Classrooms created. The nice thing about it is you can create as many Teams for Classrooms as you want to. So it's not something that you're limited to just having 1 or 2. If you've got 1 class, but you're teaching 7 sections, you can have 7 different Teams for Classrooms with each of the sections. And then you can have 1 big Teams that all the sections are included in if you want to. The world is yours. It's your oyster. Make as many pearls as you want. We're here to go ahead and support you and help you be as creative as possible. So don't think about any limitations about these. Jacqueline's got a question about these requests. Go ahead, Jacqueline.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go for it.
I'm asking this because I'm doing this right now and it may apply to others. So I am an RHE faculty member. So I have groups that are merged across multiple campuses. So on Blackboard, each of those groups, even though they're 1 class, gets a separate Blackboard course. Are you following what I'm saying?
Yep, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Okay. So I merged the courses in Blackboard, right? So all the students are just working from 1 dashboard in Blackboard. But how do I do that when I request? Because when I requested my Teams course, it only added the 5 students and the parent course.
Right. So if you need to go ahead and add the separate sections, you would email the service desk requesting the Teams. You can go ahead and put in there, hey, can you integrate these sections together into another team?
Okay, so just email them and ask them to integrate all into 1 team. Thank you so much.
I'll do it for you. You're welcome. Great question. All right. Very similar to a regular team. If you guys are familiar with your regular Teams, Microsoft Teams, you've got your general, and then you have your channels, and you have your posts. Teams for Classrooms, same thing. When you click on it, you've got your general, But you've got a couple of different options inside Microsoft Teams for Classrooms that you don't inside the regular Teams. You also have class notebook, assignments, and grades. Now, there are faculty across campus that are using assignments and grades in Teams, or using the assignments and grades in Blackboard, or both. Again, that's totally your personal preference. You can use the assignments and grades inside Teams. You can use it in Blackboard. You can use it in both. There's no right or wrong way to go ahead and do that. But these are some of the options I'm going to walk you guys through today. Second biggest thing about Teams for Classrooms, you'll notice there are these channels. So a lot of people teaching classes have groups inside classes that work together on different group projects. You can go ahead and create separate channels just like you can inside a Microsoft Teams group for a specific thing, specific topic, or you can see that I've got some with these little locks next to it. You can go ahead and create a channel that's private and only invite certain students to that channel, so they can go ahead and have a place where they could do their group work with just 3 or 4 other students. And then you also have access to those private channels. When you create a channel inside your Microsoft Teams for Classroom, you get these 3 little dots, and you have the Add Channel option. Now, to make sure it's private or public, when you click Add Channel, you go ahead and give it a name. So we're going to name this one Shark Week. And under the privacy, you can click the drop down and you can make it private. And when you do that and hit next, it'll take you to a list of the students in the classroom. You can just start typing their names and add them to that private channel. And if you have any other teachers that are teaching with you, you can go ahead and add those to that channel as well. And then you can click add, and then you can go ahead and hit done. And then from that point on, only people invited to that channel can have access to it. So other students can't access it unless you invite them. You can't invite people after the fact. So let's say someone joined this group 2 weeks into it, you can go ahead and add a member if you need to. And inside these private channels work just like the public channels. You have your posts and your files. So anything that gets shared in here, go ahead and stays inside this particular channel. The nice thing also about the new private channels, there's this meet function. So if this group wants to go ahead and have a quick face-to-face meeting, they can just click meet, and everyone that's in this invited to this private channel will get an invite on their computer saying so-and-so started a meeting, and the 4 or 5 students could go ahead and work together. Can you drop on these private channels to see what students are doing? Yes, Dominique, you have access to the private channels as the person that runs the classroom. It's just the other students can't access them unless you give them permission to. But that's one of the nice features. You can go ahead and they can just meet right there if they want to. Share their information, their group projects, all that good stuff. And then you can have all the other regular channels that are public that deal with specific topics. You see I've got a bunch of different ones that I've created throughout the course of this. Decent don't different as you need to get all the information. Now inside this, students can meet in a private channel without the instructor. Yes, Dorothy. So if you go ahead and meet in here, if you don't want to meet inside the private channel with them, you don't have to. They can meet by themselves. So inside the general channel, your posts and your files. Anytime you do something inside the Teams for Classroom, it gets posted here. You can see that I've got view assignments. You can create polls, join links to meetings, all of that good stuff. And those meetings can be video conferences. Correct. Yes, Jacqueline. So in the private channel, you just click meet and it launches a Microsoft Teams meeting. Do you have videos and or instructions that we can share with students that explain all the features, meet post files? Yes. Candace, I went ahead and sent that link in the chat earlier when the meeting started. And so that link to Ohio University Microsoft Teams has a rundown on how to do everything that I'm talking about today. All right, Microsoft Teams, the general channel, posts and files. Anytime that you share a file inside a channel, it's going to automatically save into the Files tab. So let's say you're 3 or 4 weeks into the semester and you posted a file back in week 1 and one of the students wants to go ahead and find that file. Instead of having to scroll back through all of the different posts, they can just click on files. Anytime a file gets shared, it automatically gets put into the files tab. So it's a great way to go ahead and keep files organized. You can also upload a file right from the files tab just by clicking upload. And it takes you right into your file manager on your computer. I can go into my OneDrive if I want to, find the file I want to upload and upload it right here. And then inside this files tab, I can open up this Excel sheet. Anybody can open up this Excel sheet and work on this Excel sheet right inside Microsoft Teams. So they don't have to have Excel necessarily on their computer. They should, but they don't have to. They can work on it right inside Teams, and multiple people can have this file open at the same time. So it's a total collaboration piece. So it's not just like one person's working on it, it's locked. Nope, one person's working on it, someone else can get in here, work on it at the same time. So that's kind of the nice thing about using the files information inside Microsoft Teams, is that it's a total collaboration piece. Can you post a worksheet for the students in the channel to work on to multiple channels at once? So Janet, if you want to post a worksheet for the students in the channel to work on multiple channels at once. So you could post something in the general channel where everyone gets it, or any of the different topics. Everyone has access to these public channels. If they're going to have the same worksheet, but in a couple of different channels, but you don't want in all the channels, you'll have to post them individually into the different channels. But if it's something that everyone can have access to, you can post it in general or one of the other topics if it's related to that. But if you post something in group one, only the people in group one will be able to go ahead and see that particular worksheet that you share with them. We'll go through this when you go into assignments. You can assign different things to different channels as well, and I'll show you that when we get to assignments. Does Teams keep track of who worked on the files? Yes, Janet, it does. So you can see when you open up a file, you can see who's been on the file and who made some changes to it. Good question. Aside from sharing files, you can see that you can also do forms. So down here on the bottom of the thing, when you start your conversation, do your posts, besides all the fun stuff you can do, you can also do forms. If you want to do ahead and launch a quick poll, you can click on forms, pulls it up, and you can go ahead and create a question, and everyone in your class can give an answer to that question. So you can go ahead and create a poll if you want to. You can make it super simple or make it as in-depth as you want to. It's going to go ahead and give you some suggested answers if you want. And you go ahead and hit next. You can create a poll right inside the channel so you can see what's going on. Hey, is everyone having a good time? Does everyone get questions on that good stuff? Anything like that. So you can put a poll right inside your channel. You can do that for any of the channels. It doesn't have to be just general. It can even be in the private channels if you want. You can also, this is another place to attach files. Click attach, and you can attach a file right inside here. You can browse the different files inside your Teams and your channels, your computer, or your OneDrive. And again, so files tab, can you add folders to organize items? Absolutely, you can add folder rather than just a file. So you can have different folders inside the files tab. Good question. And do files populate by date or name, and can you change that? You can't change it after the file's been posted. So you have to make sure you have the correct name of the file that you want to post before you go ahead and share it inside the general chat. I can't go in here and rename this guy if I want to. Keep in mind that if you are sharing stuff inside your OneDrive to the files on Microsoft Teams, it's going to create a second copy of it. So if you're taking something from your OneDrive and you put it inside Microsoft Teams, the one in OneDrive is not going to update if you make a change to the one inside Microsoft Teams. So you'll have two different copies of that file going forward. So if you've got something in your OneDrive and you share it inside Microsoft Teams, the one inside Teams gets updated, the one inside your OneDrive will not. They don't quite communicate that well together. But for the most part, still an awesome collaboration tool. All right. we've got our class notebook inside here as well. So this is just OneNote built inside to Microsoft Teams. If anybody's familiar with OneNote, it's a pretty cool little tool. If you're not familiar with OneNote, one of the nice things about this class notebook is that anytime you want to do something inside of it, it's got the step-by-step directions built in. So you don't have to worry about how do I do this inside the class notebook. All it has to do is load first. There we go. All right. Welcome to your class notebook. This little guy here, this arrow, the navigation panel, is your bread and butter inside the class notebook. When you click on this, it's going to go ahead and open up all of the different tabs that you have created and also the list of your students. Now for the student view inside the class notebook, they'll only be able to see themselves and then anything that is general to the class. You have access to all the students inside here, but they're only going to have access to themselves and then with everything else that is shared by the class up here in the top. So that's why you have this is in colors and these are in black and gray and white. So you'll see all your students, but your students will just see themselves and then the general class stuff. And all of these are called sections. So you've got a welcome section, and then these are created by myself. I created meeting notes, I created practice stuff, I created documents. You go ahead and create a new section if you want to. There's a little plus sign down here. You can create the section. Anytime you create a section, everyone's going to class has access to it. Inside the sections are called pages. So I have meeting notes. You can see I have a page for week 2. I've got a page for week 1. I can go ahead and create another page by clicking the create page, and I just type in what I want that page to call. Now I've got a page for week 1, week 2, week 3. And inside these different week pages, I could go in here and this works just like a Microsoft Word document. I can type stuff, copy and paste stuff, insert files if I want to, draw if I want to, anything like that. And then again, everyone in the class has access to these guys. Now for my students, if I want to share something directly with Tiffany, I can click on Tiffany's name. And I can see handouts, quizzes, class notes, homework. So I can go into class notes for Tiffany and I can post something in here for Tiffany to read. And only Tiffany can go ahead and read it. Or I can give her a specific assignment or anything that she's turned in will show up inside her little homework tab. But again, Madison can't see anything that's in Tiffany's section and vice versa. So that's the class notebook. And you can access the class notebook if you want to in the app. You can open up OneNote and just use it in the app, or you can go ahead and use it right inside Microsoft Teams. When you're done with the class notebook, you can just click back over to files or posts. And that takes you into the assignments tab. Creating assignments in Microsoft Teams for classrooms. It's pretty handy. You've got a couple of different options. So you see that I've got assigned right here. I've already created a couple. When you create an assignment, it's going to show up here under the assigned. It's going to give you the due date. And on the far right, it's going to tell you how many people have turned it in and how many of the people that have turned it in you've actually went ahead and reviewed. Do students get automatically notified when you post something in their class notebook? Janet, what's going to happen inside the class notebook? If you post something in there, there could be a little activity bell. But it's going to be under there, not going to be something super specific that's going to get a post or an email or in the general channel. If you post something in the notebook, they'll get a little activity bell that says, hey, someone went ahead and posted in the class notebook up here in the top left corner. A good question. So to create assignment inside Microsoft Teams, I have the nice big create button on the bottom, and now I could do a quiz, an assignment, or I can do an existing. So I can take an existing assignment that I've already created inside my Teams for Classroom and edit it if I want to or update it. But I'm just going to go ahead and do an assignment, show you guys how to walk through this process. Fill in the blanks. If it's required, it's going to say it. If not, you don't have to go ahead and fill anything in here. So we're going to do Shark Week viewing. And the instructions. Easy peasy. This is worth 10 points. You could add a rubric. You guys know how to create rubrics, how to get 10 points, what happens if you do this, what happens if you do this to get 9 points, 8 points. And then here's the assignment option. I can click on this and I can choose specific students I want to go ahead and assign it to. So if I know that group 2 is made up of these 4 students, I can just assign it to those students. So they'll go ahead and get a notification that they have an assignment and the other students won't see it. So I can't assign it to a specific channel per se, but I can assign it to the students in that channel. The end of Shark Week, which is Sunday at midnight. And this is a post assignment notifications to this channel. So after I post this, it's going to be in general. Everyone will get a notification that there's an assignment posted in the general channel. I can hit edit here, and I could pick any of the public channels if I want to go ahead and post it in there, but I can't pick a private channel. So the only time you can really do anything in the private channel for the assignments is you have to add students individually. But when you're all done with all that, you can go ahead and hit assign. So there's my Shark Week viewing. So there it is. I can click on this now after the fact. Once I click on this, I'm going to see all the students in here. When a student clicks on it, they're just going to see their name, but you can see all the students' names. You can see if it's been turned in. You can leave that student feedback. Hey, you did a great job on this. Nice job, all that good stuff. Here's your 10 points. Then you can hit the return button. When you hit the return button, lets the student know that their assignment's been returned to them by the teacher, and they can go ahead and click on their assignment thing, click on their name, look at their feedback, see how many points they got. So if I hit return to that one, I can see that Madison's the only one that's left, but I can go into my graded, and there's Tiffany. I returned it to her. She got 10 points. There's a little check mark. But I still have to grade Madison Shark Week viewing homework. And then if I need to import everything to Excel, I can click on this. It'll put the names and then the little point total in there in the Excel sheet. Now, if I look in general in the posts, bang, there's the assignment. Shark Week viewing, due August 16th. Students can click on the view assignment, shows them what they need to do. So that's the assignments tab. Pretty handy, pretty straightforward, pretty easy to do. Go ahead and create. For grades, it's going to give you your student lists, and then it's going to give you your assignments on the top or their quizzes. So it's going to tell you that Tiffany got 10 points on the Shark Week viewing. She hasn't turned in superfood or court cases, but she got 10 points on the dog assignment. Through little options, I can open up their work, or I can return it to them again if I want to. Does it export to Excel in OneDrive? So Karen, what it'll do is it'll export it to Excel on the OneDrive if you have your OneDrive linked to autosave. Otherwise, you can save it in your OneDrive if you need to in the same option. So it's going to export to Excel in the web version, and then from there you can decide to save it into your OneDrive or on your desktop if you want to, or your hard drive. So there's the grades, how easy it is. Click on the student, shows them their stuff. I returned this. They haven't turned it in. They haven't turned it in. Again, I can export that to Excel if I want to. So that's what the grade book looks like. Students click on grades, they see themselves, and that's it. They see themselves, and then the assignments or quizzes that you have in there for them. That's the grade book. Gotcha. So video with students. So we're getting there. I just wanted to walk you guys through what the teams for classrooms looks like compared to a regular team. And I'll show you guys the next step in terms of creating a meeting learning space for your students. All right. So creating a meeting space, virtual lecture hall, that good stuff. Couple of different options there. Inside Microsoft Teams, I've got this calendar function. I can click on my calendar. I could go to an open spot. And I could go ahead, if I want to have a virtual lecture or anything like that, put it inside of your Tuesday from 10:30 to 11:30. We're going to have a lecture. I can add it, put this in one of my channels. I can put it in my general channel. So everyone knows that Tuesday at 10:30, we're going to have a lecture. I can add the title and add required attendee if it's someone outside the classroom if I want to. Then what happens Tuesday at 10? Yes.
Hey, Luke, just if people aren't using Teams for Classrooms, can you talk about how they would just set up a meeting to invite students as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool.
It's done the same way inside Microsoft Teams. I'm going to go ahead and discard this. If you're not using Teams for Classroom, you just want to invite students to a meeting, blank space. And you could do a couple of things. What I like to do is invite myself to a meeting. Hit tab. I'm going to go ahead and title it and lecture. I'm going to make it Tuesday 10 to 11, and I'm going to go ahead and hit send. So here's the one Teams meeting that I just created on Tuesday the 18th from 10 to 11. Now I can click on this meeting, and there's my link to a Teams meeting. Now I can do a couple of things. I can copy this. I can go into Blackboard and post it in announcements, post it in content. I can go to my email, compose a message, send it out on my email if I want to my student list. I can go into my Microsoft Teams, post it in a chat, post it in a channel. Lots of different options for this particular meeting. And that you get it out to your students and they can just click on it and they'll go ahead and launch the meeting. They'll be inside the Teams meeting.
And the reason Luke invited himself, you have to invite someone if you want the Teams app to create that link for the Teams meeting. So if you don't invite anyone, it'll just be a kind of like a hold on your calendar. So invite yourself or a GA if you have them, or whoever it might be, but you have to invite someone if you want to generate that Teams link.
Sure. And if you're using Outlook rather than Catmail, you can open up Microsoft Outlook. I'll show you how to do a Teams meeting in Outlook. So if you want to do it in Outlook, schedule a Teams meeting to your classes or anything like that, go into your calendar. And you can see inside Outlook, there's a link for new Teams meeting. So I can click on this and it will automatically generate a Teams meeting link. And now I can go ahead and give it a title. Same thing, I can send it to myself and go ahead and hit send. Or I can not require anybody to have it. I can have it Thursday from at 10:30 to 11, hit send. Oh, you have to go ahead and put someone in there, just like regular thing. And I hit send. So I could do it. And once you've got that link, it's your link. You can do whatever you want to. Like I said, put it in Blackboard, email it out to people, all that good stuff. If you're going to have a recurring meeting, so let's say every lecture is going to go ahead and on Tuesdays or Thursdays or something like that, you could click the repeat and you could choose when you want it to go ahead and repeat with a custom thing. So I want it to be repeats every couple of days, all that good stuff. If it's going to be a repeating meeting, the link is going to work for all of the different meetings. So if I'm going to do Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 to 11, this link is going to work for all the Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 to 11. I don't have to have a new link every time there's a new meeting, if it's one of those that's repeating. So that's a nice thing as well. So you can send this link out one time and say, here's the link for the Tuesdays and Thursday meetings. They can click on it. It's going to take them to the Tuesday and Thursday meetings all semester long, as long as you've got it on the repeating. If you don't have it on the repeating, you'll have to do a new link for a new meeting. Discard that. Once the meeting is started, like I said, on one of the new features for the Microsoft Teams is the pop out. So the meetings now pop out into a separate window. So I can have Microsoft Teams or Blackboard or PowerPoint or something open on a separate window, and my Teams meeting will be open up in a separate window, which is very nice to do. Also, a couple of other cool features inside the Microsoft Teams meeting. The controls are now on the top of the screen rather than on the bottom, and they're static, so they don't go away. If you move your cursor around, they always stay up there, which is really nice. You can access your meeting chat. If you have a pop-out window, you can put the pop-out window into another window on your screen or monitor and access the chat that way as well. You have the hand raise function, so students can go ahead and raise their hand. Lets you know who's got their hand raised. You can go ahead and call on them. The participation pane, click on this. This is where you can go ahead and mute everybody inside the class. So it tells you who's in the meeting, and I can go ahead and mute everybody in the class if I need to, since I'm the organizer of the meeting. I can also take someone who's in the class. Let's see here, if we can find Mary. There's Mary. Let's say Mary's being very disruptive, like normal. I can click on Mary's three little buttons, and I can kick her out of the meeting. Like, Mary, no one has time for your guff. You go ahead and you're done for the day. You can go ahead and just watch this recording. So you can also do that as well. If you can also make them an attendee. So all you can do is listen and participate in that. But the default is everyone's a participant inside these Microsoft Teams meetings. Again, it was created as a collaboration piece. So that's why everyone starts off as a participant. But if someone keeps trying to take over the screen, just make them an attendee or remove them and have them watch the recording. You can also pin somebody. So keep an eye on them. So if I pin Mary, I'll always have a feed of Mary in the corner of the screen, but I can pin anybody I want to. Also, down the road, hopefully in the next week or so, you'll be able to track the attendance. This little drop-down box, you'll be able to go and export who was in the meeting to an Excel sheet. Some people have already got that update to go through. I'm waiting on mine to come through, but that's going to be a really cool feature. People have asked about how to take attendance. Rather than just screenshotting all the people that are in the class, you'll be able to download the list into an Excel sheet so you can see who was in the meeting. If the meeting started, you forgot to invite somebody, you can invite someone after the fact just by typing in their email address, their Ohio information, or a phone number. You can see I've got a little red dot on my little chat, meaning there's something new in the chat that I haven't seen, so I can click on the show conversation, get caught up on the chat box. Do the students know they are pinned? No, Jacqueline, good question. Only you know that they are pinned. Now, you might see that they're pinned if you're sharing your screen and it's your Teams meeting and you pin them and you're sharing your feed of the Teams meeting, then they'll be able to see that they're pinned. But if you've got this on a separate screen and on like my main screen, I have my PowerPoint or a Word document or my PDF that I'm going through, they won't be able to see the team meeting. So it kind of depends on what you're sharing on your screen, but they don't get a notification that they've been pinned. Aside from the participants and the chat and the hand raising, we've got some other options inside the more actions. This is where you go ahead and record the meeting. You can click start record. A little message pops up that lets people know that the meeting's being recorded. I can dismiss this if I want to. Ohio's a one-party consent state when it comes to recording a meeting. That message pops up, and that's all you need for consent to record the meeting. If someone doesn't want to be in a recorded meeting, there you are. Go ahead and free to leave, but that's all you need. You don't have to have everyone say, yes, that's fine to record the meeting. You can stop recording, say something else, and then start recording again. You can also turn on captions. So if you're talking and you've got some accessibility options or features that you need, you can turn on the captions. The media is going to go ahead and record the captions. Someone else starts talking, they'll be able to go ahead and on the new update, eventually, hopefully also in the next week or so, we'll have the person's name next to the captions. So if somebody else starts talking, the people that are viewing this later on be able to see who's actually talking. So that's kind of the captions thing. I'm going to turn those off. If we create meeting this way, we won't need to create classes for each regional campus sessions if we were doing OULN. That's a good question, William. Yes, you can create meetings this way, and you won't need to create classes for each campus. You can just send out the meetings to whoever you need to. You can also turn off incoming video. The reason you would do this, based on your bandwidth and how great your internet connection is, if it's slowing something down and you've got 60 people and they all have their video on, you can turn it off and I can get rid of Mary's picture. And that way I can go ahead and keep everything just in case my internet slows down for whatever reason. If I'm having choppy internets, I can turn off the incoming video. Another thing inside here, a couple of the other updates that just came through are the gallery, large gallery, and together mode. So once you've got 49 people or more, you can click large gallery and you can have 49 people's little squares going up here if they've all got their cameras turned on. Together mode. When you hit this, it puts everyone that's in the meeting inside like a virtual lecture hall if they have their cameras turned on. So if you guys turn on your cameras, you'll see that the lecture hall will expand and you guys will get put into the different chairs. Up to 49 of you. So we go ahead and look like we're all in the same room talking. I can give Mary a high five if she wants. There you go. That good stuff. So that's new in the together mode. And they're going to get different backgrounds eventually in here. They're going to have like conference rooms. They're going to have cafeterias. Right now, it's just a lecture hall. It's going to automatically, you're supposed to stick your head and shoulders in the chair. So that's new. We'll turn that back to gallery mode. Another new one is called focus mode. So when you're presenting, it turns off everyone's camera and microphone automatically and just has the content that you're presenting on the screen. So it's for people that really want to get down to business and it's something super important. They can just turn on focus mode. Turns off all the cameras and the microphones. Also, someone asked way early on about the background effects. That's this guy right here. It says apply background effects. As you can see mine, I've got three guys from Jaws. You click apply background effects. There's preloaded ones from Microsoft. They're pretty standard. You can blur your background if you want to. So if you're in a public place, you can go ahead and blur it so nobody can see what's going on behind you. You have the ones that come preloaded from Microsoft, a locker room, a beach, apartments, and balloons. And if you want to add new ones, you can do a couple of different things. You can click add new, and it takes you to your file manager on your computer, and you can just go ahead and find pictures or anything like that. What I like to do is go into Google, based on what's going on, download something that I think would be a cool background, and I can just go ahead and upload it when I click add new. So there's my Star Wars, there's Back to the Future, there's my hyperspace, and then I've got personal pictures, like there's one of my dogs, another one of my dogs. This is a popular one with the kids, SpongeBob. So you can do all of that stuff if you want to inside the backgrounds. Those are the options inside the three little dots. Turn my camera off, good stuff, and then the sharing. If I want to go ahead and share something besides just my screen, like if I want to share a PowerPoint, I open up that share tray, and it's going to automatically give me the last couple of PowerPoints that I've used. And I can click the PowerPoint, and then it's going to show up on the screen, and then all the video feed will be on the bottom. So I can see everyone's pictures and the video feed still on the bottom of the screen, and then the PowerPoint pops up. And I can walk through the PowerPoint with you guys. One of the nice things about this is if I'm going through a PowerPoint with the class and someone missed something on slide 6, they have the ability to go back to slide 6 themselves without me knowing it, and they can see what they missed on slide 6 and then get caught up. They'll see that I'm on slide 8 or 9. If I don't want them to navigate on their own, there's a little option next to the navigation of the slides with a little eye that prevents the participants from moving through the shared presentation on their own. I can click on this, and then if the PowerPoint is locked, and they're at the mercy of how fast or slow I go through the slides. And when I'm done presenting the PowerPoint, there's a little button that says Stop Presenting. I click that, and it takes me back to the Microsoft Teams meeting. Another thing in the share tray is the whiteboard. So I can open up my whiteboard inside Microsoft Teams, and we can all go ahead and draw on the whiteboard together. If you're using the web version of Microsoft Teams, the whiteboard won't work. So make sure you're using the desktop app for the whiteboard, but you can see that I'll draw on here. You guys can go ahead and pick a pencil and participate with me in the whiteboard. If you don't see a whiteboard, you're using the web app. Sometimes on the Macs, it doesn't work all that well. Someone just erased my tic-tac-toes, but it does not show me who's drawing what. So you guys can draw whatever you want in here. It does not show me who is doing this. So don't be afraid. Someone really likes making the little @ symbol, which is kind of cool. When I'm done, there's also a stop presenting feature in here. And I can go ahead and stop presenting inside the whiteboard. If you want to present something that has audio to the class, when you go to the share tray, there's going to be an option on the top left corner above the desktop. It says include system audio. You make sure you check that box, and then you can open up whatever you want to share. Just a heads up, Macs cannot share system audio yet inside of Microsoft Teams meetings. So if you're on a Mac and you need to share a YouTube video or something along that lines, you'll have to play it with the microphone attached to your computer rather than using the system audio. But if I want to click system audio and then play a YouTube video, I could do that if I check include system audio. All right, I think there was a question in chat here. Looks like you, yes. Can whiteboard be done by channels? Whiteboards are only functionable inside the meeting space. If I go into my channel, inside my team, and I click the plus sign, these are the different options that I have. So I can add these different things. I can add forms. I can add Microsoft Word options of that type of stuff. And I can also do stream or forms or anything like that, but I can't do a whiteboard inside a channel. Now, the recording of this videos. You can use Macs, can share audio from YouTube, but just not using the system audio function. That is correct. You'll have to use the regular microphone on the Mac and put it by the system audio to get the audio to come through. But the update is coming eventually, fingers crossed, it's before school starts, where Macs will be able to share their system audio. So let's talk about what happens when you record these meetings. So recording these meetings, when your meeting is done recorded, it's going to automatically go into your Microsoft Stream account. We all have Microsoft Stream accounts as part of the university's Office 365 suite. If you've never accessed your Microsoft Stream account, you can go into your cat mail and go into your apps and click stream. If you don't see it, you can click on all apps and go to stream. It's alphabetized. Or you can simply go search for Ohio University Stream and look for it that way. Once you're in your stream account, for the first time, you can just simply bookmark this homepage. And that way you don't have to go into your cat mail every time. You can just open up this bookmark in your web browser. There's your Microsoft Stream account. Inside your stream, you have My Content. You click on this and go to your videos. So if you record the video on Microsoft Teams, it's going to automatically load to your stream account. You can see these are the ones that I've done. It does chronological. I can sort by the upload date if I want to. I can sort by the name, how many times it's been viewed or liked, so on and so forth. But the default is just by the date that it's done. Once the video is in my stream account, give it some time. It doesn't show up as soon as the meeting's over with. Based on how long the video is, it's going to take a while to go ahead and put into your stream account. But once it's here, I've got these 3 little buttons, more actions. I can click share. I can simply copy this link, and then I can go post it in Teams channel, send it out in an email, put it in Blackboard, send out the link to the video that way. So if someone missed it, I can go ahead and share the link to that video super easy. Students have access to Microsoft Stream as well, so it's not something they have to sign up or do anything like that. It's part of the Office 365 suite. So if you post it in Blackboard and they click on it, it's going to open up Microsoft Stream on their end, and then go ahead and play the video.
Can you talk about sharing permissions within Stream?
Sure. So
Right,
inside
so
Microsoft, go ahead.
I'm just thinking if they created a recurring event in their calendar without inviting a channel or anything, how they'd ensure that students could see that video.
Right.
Cool.
So if they have a recurring event and you want the students to go and see if they miss it, students can go into their Stream account and look for the name of the video that they want to. The privacy for Microsoft Stream is all, but all means Ohio University logins. So not all isn't everybody in the world. So you have to have an @ohio.edu email address to access the Stream video. If you want it to be limited, you can switch the privacy to limited. And that way, people that you go ahead and give access to could have access to that particular video. You see up here, you've got groups. So here's my Teams for Classroom. So I can click in this guy and I can upload my videos. Anything that I've done inside this Teams for Classroom, I could go ahead and the videos will be here. And if someone's in this particular class, they can go to their classroom setting and look at the videos that are in this particular group. I can upload existing video if I want to. I can even see the channels that are inside here. I can create a channel for this. So if I want to have a video for only 6 or 7 people, I can create my channel inside Stream just like I did inside Microsoft Teams. They don't manage over, so all the channels you created in Teams don't automatically merge into Microsoft Stream, so you have to go ahead and create them separately. But if you do a video and you only want certain people to see it, you can go ahead and give it a channel and description and all that good stuff. And when you click on membership, this is everyone that's in this particular classroom. So it kind of works in tandem with Microsoft Teams. But the biggest thing is the My Content and the videos. Go in here, share this guy, copy this, email it out to your students, put it in Blackboard, whatever you want to do with that link, and they'll be able to go ahead and view the video after the fact. I can also just simply click email and start typing in someone's email address and click add and then send it out. If I know I just want to send it to like 1 or 2 specific people. It's also an embed code. So if I want to get fancy and embed this right inside a website, I can do that as well. Again, bookmark Microsoft Stream. That way you don't have to log into CatMail to do it. You'll see when you go down your Microsoft Stream, there's different channels across the university, doing student employee packets, all that good stuff. So you can go ahead and watch like student Senate videos, president's speeches, all that good stuff. So that's your Microsoft Stream account. Again, everyone has access to that as part of the 365 suite.
Stream will also add captions to your videos.
Yes.
So it's another benefit. It takes a little bit of time, but it automatically does that for you.
Yep. Chris, is there a resource that says the difference between Windows version and Mac version? Kind of, I mean, there's one that exists out, and if you go to Microsoft's website, they do have a little breakdown of what Macs can and can't do. OIT does not have a resource like that just yet, but it exists on the internet. It just takes a little bit of hunting to find it, but yes, there's something that's out there. I'm going to stop sharing my screen at this point because I'm all dunsies. We've got a few minutes left before we reach our time. So if anybody has any additional questions, or Jody, you want to go ahead and say anything else, this is the go ahead and time to ask that.
Could you maybe show everyone how they would, or provide the link? I always forget how to get it. If they wanted students to be able to send them a chat in Microsoft Teams, say if they wanted that as an option for communicating, how they could get that kind of permanent link that would, if students clicked on it, it would open up a chat with that faculty member.
Inside Teams?
Yes.
Gotcha. So students, a couple of different things. Let me share my screen again. Bryce, looks. So if students want to chat with you or vice versa, this chat function right here, they can just hit this little pencil guy and they can start typing in your name, or you can type in the student's name and you guys can send a chat to a student. So it's very easy to go ahead. The chats are private, so no one else can see the chat unless you are sharing your screen with your chats on them. So that's
you can also do chats with multiple students if you use the little button up top that's the square with a little pencil in it. You can type in multiple names. So if you wanted to chat with a small group or even your whole class and not set up a Teams for Classroom, you could do it that way as well.
Right. So I can go ahead. I've got this chat here. I can click this little guy that says view and add participants, and I can go ahead and add people to this chat. And I can also name this chat so I can keep it a little bit more organized so I know what this chat's about. You can see I have got some that have my application support team chats named that rather than just having 15 people's names at the top of this. I know what this chat's for. I also have a coffee club. I got a puppy dogs chat. You can get as creative as you want to with the names of the chat. Once you change the name of the chat, though, everyone in that chat sees that name. So don't go ahead and change it to something inappropriate they only think you can see. Everyone gets to see the name of the chat that you change it to. So just a quick little heads up tip there. Can you come back to video on versus off of Teams internet connection? Sure, absolutely. Open this up again. So if you need to turn the video off, the chat, if your internet is being a little wonky donkey, you've got your three little buttons up here, more actions. And I have turn off incoming video. And then bam, Mary's gone. Now I just have the static pictures. And three little buttons, I could turn the incoming video back on.
And that is per user. So if you have a student who has poor internet, they can turn off incoming video themselves. Right. And if you're somewhere teaching and you have poor internet connection, you could turn off the incoming video as well. You just have to remember to turn it back on if you need to see something. And remember that it's not that the students or whomever has turned off their camera. It's just because they're trying to you are trying to preserve bandwidth.
Yes.
Yeah, so Luke gave the rundown. Teams, if you're just using it in your class without adding the setting up a Teams for Classroom, is great for office hours, meeting with students. Some faculty have used it as an option for kind of like office hours, but chatting as opposed to doing a video conference if students needed that type of support. It's always good to give expectations to your students. So if you're not going to answer on the weekends, or if you're only going to be checking in with teams during certain times of day, you might let them know, hey, I'll check my teams between 9 and 7 at night, or 5, or whatever is reasonable for you. But I won't be hopping on Teams on the weekend. So if you need something, then shoot me an email or whatever it might be. So just always try to keep in mind whatever tools you're using to communicate with students, and Teams is a stellar one, but make sure you set those expectations for your students in your course and in your syllabus as well, typically.
I went ahead and put another link inside the chat. It's Teams Help and Resources. So for OIT, so you have any questions, you can use the Help and Resources link. Also has links to booking a workshop or consultation with me. So if you want some one-on-one practice or want some more drill downs or anything like that, you can schedule just a basic training with myself. Practice with me before you go ahead and get started with before school starts, all that good stuff. So Candace, no, I don't have that. We're getting as close as possible. Sorry about that, but because my Teams is a Microsoft-based app first, so you know that they had to do it with that first, but they're pretty close to getting everything compatible with the Mac. It's very similar, so. Tracy Kitts, who owns our Microsoft 365 service owner, does a fairly good job of when new stuff comes out, emailing out to the staff and faculty, hey, these are some of the new updates. And we try to update the Teams page on the OIT with any of the new stuff as well, so you guys know what's going on there. And the first link that I sent out gives you the instructions on how to update your Teams app without having to wait for it to come through automatically. So if you want to get the new version, the instructions are on the top, requesting the Teams are on the bottom. Second link is some help with information stuff. So where do incoming students go to download the Office suite? So the best thing to do when I tell students, and I was doing this last year when we had in-person BSO, is log into their cat mail. And I can walk you guys through this process because this is free, and this is also good to know for everybody. When you log into your cat mail, whether you're a student or you are faculty or staff, you have Office 365. You can click on this and it'll download the Office 365 suite on your computer. And if you've got a new computer or you've got a computer at home that you want to use, you can log into your cat mail and you can download Office 365. I think everyone who's faculty or staff at the university has 4 or 5 licenses. So you don't be afraid to share the Office 365 suite on multiple devices or with your family members who need it. But they can click on this and they can just simply go ahead and download the Office 365 suite if they haven't done it already. It's going to be right here, install Office. And they can download it and then bam, they've got everything, desktop and mobile versions.